mention one of the male teachers. We don't have a lot of male teachers at the school, so we have to mention Mr. Reed. Mr. Reed just stands there. He was to the Bellefield Primary School, a hard worker, very good supporter. I also want to mention Mr. Trevor Hewitt, one of our class chairman. Stand, Mr. Hewitt. Thank you very much, sir, for answering and being here at such a short notice. We really appreciate the effort that you made to be here. All right, we're expecting to see other board members, but they're not here. So Mr. Rowe and Mr. Bent are members of the present board. In, I think about September 2008, I got a call from Mrs. Brenda Ramsey that she's asking me to take on the role of chairman for the Bellefield Primary School. Then it's now Bellefield Primary and Infant. I reluctantly said yes. I took on the task at a very difficult time when Mr. Johnson was the principal and was doing more like his last term. Mr. Rhodes is not into his last term. He was doing his last term. And that's when we were in the old school before we transitioned to the new school. I took on this responsibility not knowing the depths of what a chairman for a school is supposed to do. I remember one morning I was there and the education officer, Mr. Summer, came on there, called me, beat me by the school, went to the principal's office. And he started to line out some stuff, and this should be so, and that should be so, and he carried on. So I sat and listened to him, I said, but sir, I didn't know that this job entailed all these things. My look at me and said, that's why we're going to tell you before we appoint you. And that one was a rough one for me to swallow. But I persuaded on, and I think could have been 29, I was appointed to the board of the Bellefield High School. And at that time, there was a very efficient chairman by the name of Mr. Scabby. Mr. Scabby. Clyde Mullins. My God, that man was born a chairman. When you go to a meeting and discuss some stuff, you just look in the eyes and say, page so-and-so and clause so-and-so said so. And I mean, I just sat there and said, thank you, Lord, I'm learning. And believe me, being on that board, I learned a lot from Mr. Miller, I learned a lot from just being a member of the board until when I was on that board before I was appointed the chairman. So the following year, when there was going to be a re-election for the board at the high school, I went there one morning with my big self. Say to the principal, the present chairman, I'm sorry, but I'm now the chairman of the Bellefield Primary School. With my job and church, this is too much. I want off the high school board. The principal looked at me and laughed. Mr. Reverend Eunice, guess what? You are the only name that came down from the ministry. So automatically, without a vote, you are the vice chairman for the Bellefield High School. And it's already confirmed by ministry, so you have to keep on doing what you're doing. So I got stuck with that, but I was glad for the experience. Further on, the chairman for that at the time, Mr. Scabby, as he was known, gave up the post. They appointed a new chairman. This gentleman was a bank manager. And after he was appointed in September, he was transferred to Kingston sometime in November. I noticed the secretary called me about 3 weeks straight and said, sir, could you send the checks and decide I could come by and sign these checks? But the third week I said, miss, I don't understand what's happening. What happened to the chairman? She said, nobody don't have things. I said, no. So well, the chairman had been transferred to Kingston. So you know what I mean? automatically. And believe me, for the next 2 years and 9 months, I was the chairman for the Bellefield High School, while serving as chairman for the Bellefield Primary School. I see Mr. Grant laughing, and I was glad when I had to take leave from the board. And Mr. Grant is asking me to come back, but I'm sorry. I have too much on my hand, Mr. Grant. Welcome, Mr. Paul Grant. Put your hands together. Alright, so I meandered along and I tried my best to do what we had to do until we moved over to the primary school, and we now under the leadership, Mr. Johnson left. Ms. Mason acted for a while. Mr. Paul Grant came on the scene, served for a good time for a couple of years. He did an exceptional job. Put your hands together, Mr. Grant. He did an exceptional job. And we're glad that there was a little brown lady there who really understudied Mr. Grant. So after Mr. Grant decided to leave, Mrs. Anderson, at that time Mrs. Mason left, retirement. Then Mrs. Anderson acted after Mr. Grant left. And I tell you, she's a very good actor. She was a very good actor. Very good actor. She acts after Mr. Grant left until Mr. Howell came on the scene. Mr. Grant saw greener pastures, they moved on. Mr. Howell came and served for a time. Then he saw greener pastures and moved on. And Mrs. Anderson again acted. She's a very good actor. She did a good job. But I mean, she did a good job on studying Mr. Grant and Mr. Howell. So the time came around now for us to appoint a new principal. We got applications from all over the country. We went as far as to have a short listing for the new principal. We asked Mrs. Anderson to apply and she refused. With the prompting of Mr. Grant, who has a very good heart, said, ask Mrs. Anderson, tell her I say she must apply.
That's right, amen.
When I went to her, she was reluctant. I said, Mr. Grant, we did short listing already? Mr. Grant said, man, look here, you are a chairman for the school. Right. You have a right to walk in the Minister of Education and hand in the application from this lady, and they cannot question you. You are the chairman. I never know I had such power, Mr. Grant. Thank you. And I did exactly that. I said, Miss, bring your application resume. I walk in the ministry and said, we have another candidate for having her to the shortlisting. Now, when we went through shortlisting, we had Mrs. Anderson. We did the interview and she was successful. We were not 100% biased. We were not 100% biased. But I'll be honest with you, we were a little bit biased. Because Mrs. Anderson portrayed what the board was looking for. And I think she cloned some stuff that Mr. Grant did, and that's what we're looking for. And Mr. Grant, we're here to say to you today, sir, I don't know how you watch it, but I think he was a born principal. This man is exceptional. He's outstanding. And for what he is doing, he's now transforming. He went down to St. Elizabeth here all the time and scared and so was. But he said, no, that's not good enough. You want to come back to the Bellefield High School. And without any difficulty, he just literally walked to the Bellefield High School, and now he's doing a great job. Put your hands together, Mr. Grant. So, we have a good work relationship along with Mr. Rowe, Mr. Bent, and others on the board. We have a very good working relationship with the principal and the staff of the Bellefield Primary School. Very, very good working relationship, and we just want to applaud them for the great job that they're doing and encourage them to keep on doing what they are doing. Amen? So basically, Mrs. Anderson, when she comes, she's going to give a very, very comprehensive report on what goes on, what is going on in the school. So that's just basically my little tidbit where the school is concerned. And we're glad for the workers, the ancillary staff, and just about everyone, the watchmen, and all those who are working together. And I think Bellefield is doing well. We have a brand new plant, as it were, and we believe that they are a lot of good things to come. School has potentials, and we are going to be working along with it. Amen? All right, we're going to have an item at this time for the Bellefield Primary and Infant School staff. This will be followed by a reflection by one of the past principals, Mr. Lansford Howard. Could I have the staff coming to sing for us at this time? Put your hands together for them as they come. Okay, now, afterwards? Okay. This is the task we'll get to afterwards. So, Mr. Howard, could you just come along now with your report, sir? Thank you. Put your hands together for Mr. Lansford Howard, past principal of Bellefield Primary School. Thanks. Bishop Nunes, pastor in charge of this congregation and chairman of the Board of Governors, officers of this church, Councillor Mitchell, Vice Chairman of the Board of Management, Mr. Howard Rowe, Principal Mrs. Brenda Anderson, teachers of the noble institution, Bellefield Primary, past Principal Mr. Grant. Here there's a principal bench there. Past teachers, special invited guests, past chairman Mr. Hewitt, PTA president, and other members of the Parent Teachers Association executive, parents, all the well-wishers and members of this church, good afternoon. Rev, before I go any further, sir, I learned just now as you spoke that this should be the day when you are adorned specially. But please, sir, accept belated birthday greetings, and we wish for you many happy returns. You know, Rev, as you spoke of the school and the journey that Bellefield has taken over the years, and I sat on the quote-unquote principal's bench, I said to myself, I wonder if I should be the one to do the reflection. But nevertheless, I served there for some time. And in reflecting, must commend those who have served before my time, to include Mr. Grant and now Mrs. Anderson. 100 years. And Councillor, you wish another 100. We hope that we will be somewhere near. Not around, but somewhere near when that time comes around. And this 100 year of community improvement and contribution is being observed under the theme, reflecting on the past, charting the path to a brighter future. A well-known songwriter, Rev, and I hope you will allow me just to
say the introduction. I know we're in the church, but just the introduction of what he says. So he said, let's recall some great men. And he listed some of the great men of old, recalling the great Robert Nesta Marley, and he recalled some other great men. Now, today, I say to us, let's recall, let's examine a great institution, the Bellefield Primary and Infant School. Transformation, as I think about the reflection, is the word that hits me most. Transformation. Being synonymous with Bellefield Primary and Infant School. And for those who would have known the history, and those who would have been part of its new history, can attest to the fact that this is a school that has in itself undergone transformation and has transformed also community and communities, a nation that the school has served and is serving. And so from the old building that was at Bellefield Primary Infant School is still there and is still being used, to the lovely edifice that is there, where I live in, wished I could have had that kind of edifice that the Bellefield Primary School has. But in speaking of transformation, and in looking at Bellefield's history, and what it is that Bellefield has done, is that Bellefield has not only undergone transformation as it relates to the physical infrastructure that is there. Bellefield has not only undergone transformation in relation to the governance. I tell you, and Mr. Grant, Mrs. Anderson, and the members of the Bellefield Primary School family will agree with me. The governance at Bellefield is second to none, believe me. And I think you can give a round of applause for that one. School boards play an integral role in how the school is managed and administrated, the school board. And serving in at least 4 schools, I can tell you that Bellefield Primary and Infant School has one of the best governance structure and persons who are committed to the cause of the school. In many organizations, sometimes when we go there, Rev, you have the politics that you have to deal with, you have the religion that you have to deal with, but could I say that I serve with some members on a board that could put aside all of these and had just the interest of the school at heart, and I must commend you for this work. It is never easy, and I think this is what has kept one of the key elements of Bellefield, is the governance provided by the board and provided by the administrators there at the school. Any institution that is going to make excellent stride and be impactful will understand that it cannot be done alone. We tell our primary school children, no man is an island, no man stands alone. Bellefield has managed to struck and still is doing so key partnership and making quality connections that have led to the provision of what the school needs to carry out its mandate. And so from the lovely computer lab that is there, that not many primary schools can boast, to the library, and I know was happy counselor when I hear of $5 million coming in to ensure that the water challenge that Bellefield experienced over time will somewhat be alleviated. Bellefield as an institution has managed to develop key partnerships that have led to the school being able to meet the demands of the communities, the demands of the stakeholder groups, the students who come to Bellefield Primary School. The reflection rev could not be justifiably done if we have achieved all that I've mentioned and the growth and development of the students is not represented here. And so Bellefield Primary and Infant School, last year when the school did the PEP examinations, when the entire country worrying about PEP and how the PEP will be and what it will be like, I celebrated with Bellefield because when Bellefield compared PEP to GSAT, there were improvements made at the school. Bearing in mind that PEP is about critical thinking and promoting the 21st century learner, Bellefield has managed to make important strides in relation to this. And not just that, but the literacy rate, when we look at it, and I heard of it, Mrs. Anderson, that it has made significant growth. We are now at some 93%, which is one of the highest in the school's history. So the school is not just striking these partnerships, but the school is ensuring that when you send your child to Bellefield, when you send your child from Mandeville, from Christiana, from Bellefield, from Banana Ground, that your child is benefiting from a quality space and getting quality education in an institution that is run and managed by persons who have the interest of the institution at heart. I believe after 100 years, the fathers of Bellefield Primary School, the founding fathers, would lift their hats off and say, job well done. But not just that, the theme under which we celebrate says we look at the past and we're looking at how we chart the way forward for the future. Mr. Grant, when I glanced the SIP that was done during your tenure there, sir, and I look at the motto that says be prepared for service, I noticed that there's a section in it that says that the ultimate aim of the school is to ensure that children are literate and numerate, 100% of them. That's the ultimate aim. So no child must be left behind. The school believes that every child can learn and every child must learn. No child must be left behind. So as we look forward, Mrs. Anderson and the team at Bellefield, I say in closing this reflection, hitherto hath the Lord brought us.